Welcome to the Forensic Cop Podcast.
Spurs 2, Liverpool 2. I'm actually happy with the point. I was happy with the point going into the game, and at the end of the game, yeah, I'm happy with the point.
Well, I mean, the cynic and angry fan in me is going to say we were up against 12 men the whole game because that ref was clearly not on our side. And Klopp seemed to have some choice words for him. But I guess here's the thing. Were we hard done by those calls? Yeah, and lots of people have talked about them. But I guess if we're going to be honest with ourselves, we went in with a midfield of Keita, Morton, and Milner. So I kind of look at it and I'm like, really? I mean, if we can get a point with those guys, okay. Like, if it was a Fab, if it was the Fabinho, Thiago, I might feel differently. But with this crummy midfield, I'm actually kind of okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, even before seeing the lineup, like I said, I just had a feeling that this was the kind of game that Spurs would end up winning, and this is the kind of game that Harry Kane would just all of a sudden start scoring again. And with everything that's been happening with COVID, not having Van Dijk and everything being up in the air, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't, if this is the last game for a while, I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose it.
Well, we tried.
Whatever break. Yeah, no, we certainly did.
Everybody tried.
Yeah.
I mean, so, I always go to the numbers and expected goals were actually in favor of Tottenham. They were over 2 and we were at 1.5. So, and I can understand they had the better chances that they just didn't put away. That being said, I honestly don't know how to feel about Alisson. He clearly screwed up on that second goal. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking, but before that, I mean, he single-handedly saved 2 or 3 that absolutely should have gone in. So do you count it as a good performance? I actually don't know what to think.
Yeah, at this point, I think we talked about it a couple podcasts ago. At this point, I've just come to accept that is part of his game, that he will be sloppy at least once. Not every game, but there will always be a moment like that happens. And it typically, I think the only game that we lost because of his mistake was Man City, and then Leicester City last season. Otherwise, usually the team is able to bail him out. And I think we just have to accept that from him. Maybe he's too in the zone in the games, and then he just switches off for a brief moment, or perhaps the surface was a little bit wet, and the way he plays, he does take risks the way he plays, and eventually he'll get caught out. So I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great. I was. You know what the thing is? I think people are super disappointed because this game could have very easily been won. It could have been won if Kane had been rightfully sent off. It could have been won if Jota had gotten the penalty shot. It could have been won if Alisson hadn't, made such a mess on that second goal. We just had so many chances to win it. But that being said, I mean, honestly, in chances created, I really did think that Tottenham did better. Not that they played better, but I think they came up against a weakened team. Like, I'm gonna single out the midfield, and I'm gonna tell you, as an example, I'm looking here. Morton had 32 touches the whole game. Compared to, so I'm throwing out the Newcastle game because that was weird, but let's look at Aston Villa, which they were a competitive team. We barely won. You could make the argument we shouldn't have won. Fine. Fab had 64 touches. So Morton basically had half the touches, and a lower completion rate. And then you look at Milner and Keita. Keita had 80% accuracy on passes, and Milner had 78%. Like, that's just not going to cut it. We were giving the ball away all over the field. I don't know. Milner was short on like every pass that I can remember. And Keita didn't cover himself with glory either.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Trevor Morton, that's a management issue, right? Because obviously the players don't fully trust him or want to give him too much responsibility on the ball, maybe to protect him. So he's not being given the opportunity to have as many touches as Fab or Thiago or anyone else. The fact that he's playing tells us that we really do need to think seriously about reinforcing our midfield. Whether we get one player who can cover the 7, 8, and 6 position, or we we have a dedicated backup for Fabinho.
It's just so weird. We decided, and I don't understand why, to go get a dedicated backup for Robertson, a guy who literally plays no other position. But then we don't have a dedicated backup for Fab, who arguably is more important.
I wonder if it's because
Hendo can do it.
Actually, I totally forgot about him, but it wasn't even that. It was more either because of financial reasons or Klopp's loyalty. They just don't want to bring in a midfielder without letting one go, right? And they either weren't able to sell any midfielders or they didn't attempt to. But we are overloaded in that area with midfielders that aren't really pushing for first place position and are always are always injured.
Yeah, I mean, the game being as disappointing as it is one thing. And I know this is early in the season, but I'm kind of at the point where if they don't call off the season, not off the season, but if they don't call a break, then we just don't have the number of players to make it through a COVID, like a COVID season. With guys missing all the time, we don't have the depth of squad. You're going to see Man City pull away because they've got hundreds of players in their squad. You're going to see Chelsea probably start doing a bit better because they've got tons of players, but we just don't have the players. And I think we saw it today. I mean, the through balls for Tottenham were a joke. Like, how do we not get in the way? How do we not stop them? How do we not press the ball? Like it was a poor performance in the midfield.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, I didn't really expect much more from that midfield three, right? Milner's 36, 35, 36. Keita is still trying to get into the groove, trying to figure out what his position is in the Liverpool team, and Trevor Morton is a 19-year-old who hasn't really started an EPL game yet. So, and then at the back we have Matip and Konate who have well, Matip has no pace. Konate has pace-ish, but certainly he's not as fast as Son. He's not catching Son on the break, right? And
yeah, and yet
still a little bit green, so he's still not quite apt at knowing how to read those through balls.
I don't know. So let me ask you this. Do you think, I'm not saying we would have won, but do you think we would have looked different or we would have been better against the through ball if Gomez had played instead of Konate?
Yeah. And I think I said that the last time. I'm surprised that we haven't been playing Gomez in the absence of Van Dijk simply for his pace.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, so here's the thing that I would say. And again, lots of people have commented on the fouls and the penalty shots. So no point spending time in that. This is all about the strategy, which is if you don't have guys with that lightning speed, when we had Gomez and Van Dijk, play that high line. No problem, because you're going to catch anybody on the break. They get a through ball, but you're going to catch up to them. But Matip and Konate, Matip has no pace, and Konate seems to need 2 or 3 steps to build to pace, where I felt like Gomez and Van Dijk got to pace more quickly. So I don't know. I mean, either play Gomez or move your line back. And I honestly thought it was just a poor strategy.
Well, I mean, it sounds like we're having a conversation from last season all over again, right? Does Klopp change the tactic for a few games, or does he just stick with what the team knows, knowing that he'll be getting Van Dijk back soon enough anyway? I don't know. But then the other thing too is Honestly, like you made a comment earlier about Man City having all the players and everything else. I don't think it's that. I think they're just a better coach team, right? So whoever
No, but I
they
mean, they wouldn't have to put on Tyler Morton, and they wouldn't have to start James Milner.
no, but my point is, even if they did, they would still play the exact same way. How many times
Right.
have they played with Fernandinho, who I think is older? I think he's older than James Milner for sure.
37, I think.
Yeah, and then they'll just find some random kid and plug him in, and the engine keeps moving, right? With us, we don't quite have that, and that's the issue.
Sorry, I made a mistake. He's only 36. He'll be
Okay.
37 in a few months. Yeah, I agree. I think that to some degree, we do rely on the talents of our players, where I feel like Man City relies on nobody's talent.
Right.
And I guess that's just a difference in the game. But like, I look at it and I say, so, just looking at our bench, forget even the starters, forget what happened in the game. Gomez, Tsimikas, Neco Williams, Minamino, Ox, and Firmino. Okay, fine. Kelleher, he's the backup in net. We had Cade Gordon, which, I mean, you don't really want that kid to be playing against Tottenham for his game. And then, I'll be honest, I don't know who this is. Jarnell Quansah.
Okay. Yeah, he's an under 18.
Like, that's where I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, say one of the midfielders got injured. I guess we bring in Firmino.
The real question to ask is, why is there a midfielder on the bench that you don't trust? Why is Ox still at Liverpool if you don't trust him for a game like this? Right? That's the
well,
real
I think it was
question.
clear he wasn't trusted.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's a coaching thing. If you don't trust Ox, then sell him and then bring in somebody you trust. If you trust him, play him in a game like this. Right?
Well, but let's be honest. So you look at the bench. Kelleher is trusted. This Jarrell is not. Gomez trusted. Tsimikas trusted. And Firmino trusted. But you've got Jarrell, Neco Williams, Minamino, and Ox, and Gordon. You've got 5 guys on your bench that if Klopp told us he trusted them, he'd be lying. 5 guys on your bench. I don't know how you win like that.
Well, I mean, it's a strange time, right? I heard that Chelsea only had 6 substitutes on their bench, right, instead of the full 9. So yeah, it is what it is. Besides COVID, players are also getting sick, which is normal for this kind of the year. And I don't know where Thiago is. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I actually didn't hear about him either. That was weird.
I really feel for Curtis Jones. I mean, he can't catch a break this season. First of all, he had a concussion in a friendly. He missed a few games. Then he got poked in the eye. Then he had before that he had some type of muscle injury. And now he has COVID, right? So I don't know when he gets a chance to play.
Well, you forgot that Elliott caught fire for a bit there and displaced him.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not that I think Elliott would have... If Elliott hadn't been injured, I don't think he would still be playing now as often as he was. I think he caught fire and Klopp was going to ride him. But I think he would have, it would have dipped a bit and then Klopp would have sat him on the bench and worked him in as he should. But I think it was just in that moment.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't the funnest game to watch. I know a lot of people were saying it was a fun game of football. I didn't think so. I was just super frustrated by the calls. I was super frustrated by the team. I mean, when you have a bench of, one team's sporting a bench of 6 players, another team's sporting, let's be honest, our bench was really only 3 guys. Maybe Kelleher, 4 guys. Doesn't really make sense to go ahead with it. I mean, let's play the game and say, what are you thinking for man of the match? I know, right?
Jota, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
too much that he did wrong.
I mean,
so going back to a conversation we had last game,
a
couple games ago, you were saying how we need to show a little bit more nous as attackers and kind of look for penalties. So the one where Jota should have got a penalty, should he have just found a way to shoot that ball in hindsight?
I think you know what, and I know the ref said he stopped, but if you actually look at his feet, he's pulling back his kicking foot. So I think he expected the contact a bit earlier, didn't get it, so he started to go for the shot, and that's when he got taken down. But I mean, my honest opinion is when the ref was like he was looking for the contact. So, are you telling me that when a guy is like, has his back to the opponent and is looking to get bailed out, you don't call that? Like you call that every time. So that was stupid, but I don't know. The right play is to go for the penalty shot there. His angle was tight, and the penalty shot is much more of a sure thing. He protected the ball perfectly, and it was a clear as day penalty shot. I don't know. It was very odd, and I thought he did exactly the right thing, and the referee got paid off. So I don't know what to say. Like, it's super weird.
Paul Tierney, he's just a bad referee. He shows no bias. He's just a bad referee.
So I like how Klopp put it. He had 3 big calls today. He got one of them right, and all 3 went against us. So I mean, I'm not actually saying he's biased, but he's terrible.
Yeah,
he really is. And you know what the thing is? I don't have a problem with him sending Robbo off. It's just how Kane was still on. But again, Kane's a dirty player, and nobody calls him that because he's captain of the English team and they play in England. So
I mean, I think if Kane does that foul after the Robertson red card, obviously on another player because Robertson is no longer there to foul, but if that happens afterwards, he gets sent off.
I'm
not saying it's because it's an early foul, so to let them play or anything like that. It's just simply by the time he sent off Robertson rightly, the precedent had been set, right? And you can't really say the precedent was set because they didn't send Kane off. So, okay, yeah, Robertson hacks this guy, so we'll just give him a yellow because we didn't send off Kane. No, that was a red. That was a stupid foul, and Robertson deserves that. Honestly, sometimes I think he gets away with things he shouldn't be. So I'm kind of happy that he got that red. Let him sit out,
he does actually lose his temper sometimes, and you can tell.
Yeah, and you can tell immediately he knows it. He kind of gets red-faced immediately after he makes a mistake. So yeah, I'm more than happy to see Costas come back in.
I mean, in all honesty, so my man of the match, you went with Jota. I'll give you Alisson. I actually, even though he screwed up on the second goal, he made outstanding saves that kept us in the game and kept it a tie. So if he saves 3 goals and lets in 1, okay, I'll take it. So I know people are low on him, but I thought he had a great game. But as a last thought, let me ask you this. Obviously, not happy that, Robbo went off. But are you a little bit happy that Tsimikas now has to play 3 straight games?
No, I'm actually not because Robson has been playing better.
Oh, you're right.
Even with the fact that he scored today, the assist today, and also there's no telling where Costas will be at, over these next 3 games with what's going on, right?
It's true.
So it's kind of that unknown, but yeah. But I am happy that Robertson got caught for that because hopefully he'll learn to just calm down.
Speaking of Robertson's goal, the one last thing that I actually forgot to mention is, am I the only one who thinks that, I don't remember which defender it was, but the defender that kicked Robbo in the face and drew blood? Mm-hmm. Am I insane? Is that not a sending off?
Well, especially
literally when you draw blood,
especially because we scored no, right? But also Robertson, he was brave by doing that, but he asked for it. I mean, if you're gonna stoop that low in an empty net, knowing defenders are around you, you better be expecting to get hit in the face.
So it wasn't like the guy didn't see him coming. The guy came from behind him and saw his head that low and put his boot into the face. But and here's my one, I actually don't know this. I don't agree with it, but maybe it is the rules. So I'll ask you. If a team scores and there was a clear infraction seconds before the goal, is that not supposed to be given?
The infraction?
Yeah.
And the goal?
Yeah.
It's usually, I've never seen that happen.
Like I'm thinking the one in what was it, the last game where Mane got taken down from behind on what was a clear red card, but
No,
then the goalie parried it out and Salah put it in.
no, because you're playing advantage.
Yes, but if you
I mean,
recall,
if it's a
during an advantage, you can, after the advantage is played, when the ball is stopped, the ref does come and give a yellow. That actually happened in the game.
if it's a yellow, you know, but not for a red, right? Not for a red because you're last man, or something like that. But yeah, if it's a yellow,
Or
for
you
sure.
kick a dude in the face.
But he didn't really.
He drew blood.
No, yeah, he made contact, but Robertson was asking for it, and he was brave, to do that. I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know what to think of Robbo. You're right. He was doing better. I am actually not happy to see him go. Maybe this will kind of straighten him up a little bit. Overall, I mean, it is what it is. Who knows when the next game will be, if things get better, if things get worse. But the next one is Leeds. Yeah. So hopefully we get some of the team back by then and we can get back to winning ways.
For more stories, analysis, and articles, go to the forensiccop.com website.